on to breakfast. It's Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk with Matthew Dixon.
Comes in and the lights dim as he sucks all the energy out of the. What's it? Is fluorescent lights good? Are they like less?
Fluorescent lights are pretty good, but LEDs, you can get LED tubes now. So
Okay.
when you've got normal fluorescent lights there,
No,
you can
see-
replace them with LEDs.
You know,
They start dimming when I walk into them.
yeah, they dim when you walk through like a whoosh. We use them after hours as Darth Vader swords.
Yeah, they're good fun for that
Yeah,
because they actually have they're not a vacuum, but they're lower density of air inside them. So when they smash, they implode, and so they make a pretty cool noise.
Neon. We got to blame neon, haven't we? French bloke called Neon.
Hey, I'm
Invented neon
not
light.
sure the history of fluorescent lights.
I'll give you a lesson.
Yeah, okay, good.
Why have we got to change our pin all the time?
Well, we've got to change our pin to try and keep us protected from people who want to get into our stuff. And it's a pain because we've got so many things
Who
that
wants
need
to
a
get
pin.
into it?
Well, you'd be amazed at who wants to get access to your stuff. Really what they're after is money. That's basically, they don't really care about an email you sent to Billy Blogs
But
yesterday.
if they want money, all they have to do is pick up a card on the ground and they can tap it and get $200 or something, can't they?
And that's, you're right, but that's harder for someone sitting in another country somewhere around the world to go and walk along the streets in a Dubbo and pick up a card laying on the ground. But
friend to do it.
they can, that's right, if they've got some friends here.
So the idea is to stop hacking or what?
Yeah, the idea is two things. A pin on your phone is to protect what's on your phone, but what's on your phone is often a banking app. And so that's one thing you're trying to protect. Right. But then your banking app has got a pin associated with it. And it really becomes interesting when you do the maths around the length of the pin and the characters in the pin. So
it used to be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
All right. And then as the world spun backwards, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 splat. And then the bank said, look, when you go in now, you're going to have to put a numeral and it's got to have a character and at least one capital.
Yep.
Now you've got 16 numbers.
So I'll try and be very quick with this, but it's a quick maths lesson here. So if we've got 4 numbers only, so you're just using numbers, so 0 to 9, and you've got 4. Logic says you've got 10,000 combinations. You've got everywhere from 4 zeros to 9999. There's 10,000 combinations. Now 10,000 combinations takes a computer, if it's trying to get through that, a blink of an eye.
Really?
If you then introduce all the characters that we have on our normal keyboard, so that's uppercase, lowercase, the hash sign, the dollar sign, etc., it adds up to 95 characters. And the permutation of 4 from 95 goes to 81.4 million. So by using the extra characters, for someone that's just going to run through every possible combination, they've got to go through 81.4 million rather than 10,000. So that's why they've started to introduce the hash sign, the exclamation mark, the question mark, uppercase, lowercase letters, etc. So that's why you have more of them. What really makes a difference though, and this is the thing that makes it harder for people, but it makes a huge difference. So I've just said 81.4 million combinations. That's with 4 characters, or 4 digits, with 95 characters available. If we go from 4 to 8, 81.4 million jumps to a number with 15 zeros after it. Go from 8 to 12, 23 zeros. So when you
Elon Musk's salary for a year.
that's per day. So that's where you make a huge difference. Now, if we looked at, I actually did some calculations for you just to see how long it would take a supercomputer to try and hack past that many combinations. And if you had 8 characters, as I said, 15 zeros, 2 years for a computer, a fast computer,
2 years
to go through and try every combination. If you went to 12 characters, 171 years.
That's why you got to change it.
The idea of changing it is so that if someone is compromised and they have, for example, people use the same PIN and password in a whole range of different areas, if they get access in some way, because sometimes you get data breaches, then having the same password across all of those means you're exposed. So changing it makes sense there, but the reason you want to go longer, the reason the banks have said, okay, put an other character in, put an uppercase and a lowercase, those sort of things, is to make the pool bigger, which means anyone that's doing a brute force attack has more characters to choose from.
Why not just happy birthday?
You could do happy birthday, but dictionary attacks is another thing again.
A dictionary attack?
A dictionary attack. So if someone's trying to get to a password, one of the first things they do is they try a dictionary attack. Every word in the dictionary, they've got on a computer, and it just tries that and matches that against what you've got. So if you're doing happy birthday, that's fine. Right. What you should do is make sure there's an uppercase and a lowercase in there, so it might be capital H, happy birthday, and then do an other character in there. So instead of doing birthday D-A-Y, do D @ Y. easy for the human to remember happy birthday with an @ sign instead of the letter A, but once you introduce that other character, then there's more combinations and it won't show up in a dictionary attack because happy birthday with an @ sign is not in the dictionary.
What happened to 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and the fish and chips on Friday night, Matt? It's all. There are
changed.
officers, are they, deep in the jungles of Kenya that actually try and get money overseas by hacking. That's their job.
Their business. There are businesses, not just
It's a
people's jobs.
corporation.
There are organisations whose entire focus in the world, it's not like they do something legitimate most of the time and there's some random few guys off to the side doing a bit of hacking. There are organisations and that is their sole focus. They turn up to work each day. Right, now let's start going out there and hacking and see if I can get into Richard Perno's phone and steal his money.
Let's have a coffee first. Do they do? Is it
Exactly.
just a job?
This is exactly right. They turn up. There are corporations that's their entire focus is to scam money, and the scammers are the same. The ones that the phone calls you get trying to scam you out of money. They're organisations that are set up, structured organisations. There's a CEO, there's a CFO, making sure the money's coming in. Richard, you haven't got enough scams through today. Go and work a bit
Really?
harder. Yeah,
And they all drive Ferrari.
Probably. Well, I think the workers probably don't.
Oh,
I
no,
think
no, no.
I think the CEO probably does.
And can we stop all that from here? And how do you trace it back?
Yeah, the really difficult part with all of this is it is international.
Yeah.
So you're talking about international laws here. We can introduce wonderful laws in Australia and we can have all these tough penalties. But if someone's sitting there in the Philippines, in India, in Kenya, wherever they might be, I'm not trying to pick on any countries here, but wherever they might be, it's pretty hard for our government to say, right, we've found some guys doing the wrong thing, let's go and arrest them.
All right, and we're talking on individual pins. What about companies? They must have pins.
Well,
Organisations.
yeah, and one of the things that you do often with an organisation where you've got some large sums of money, you might have two people that need to combine their information. So it might be you come in and type in your PIN, Richard, and I'll type in my PIN, and then those two will go together to allow a transaction to go ahead. So it can't be one renegade person. It's got to be you and me have got to conspire, and that's a lot harder to do than just one person randomly saying, I'm going to steal some money.
So the advice?
The advice is use the other characters, definitely. Don't use just numbers. If you can, use other characters
and why
in
not
there.
your birthday? What's so...
Again, hackers are good. They'll find out your name, so don't use your name. They'll find out your date of birth, don't use your date of birth. They'll find out information about you. One of the fascinating sections I saw once was a guy talking about how he hacked. And he went through all these really obvious things and everyone in the audience sat there and went, wow, that was pretty obvious. So, yeah, don't use things that anyone could guess about you.
Yeah, change it?
Change it, yeah, I know it's a pain, but
It's a
look,
real pain in the
I
bum,
do encourage
yeah.
people to change it about every 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah, I know some people say more often, but I'm trying to be
Well, I've
realistic.
got 5 pins.
But look, I'm okay with people having the same across different things as long as they change it regularly.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't belong to one of these companies, do you?
No, I don't. I'm sorry,
It
Richard.
is a real pain in the backside.
It is a
isn't
pain, yeah, and that's the society.
It's not
we've
going to
got
get
at the
any
moment.
better.
No,
We're not going to just go back to 1, 2, 3, 4 anymore, are
we're
we?
not going to go back to trusting people.
No. You can leave now. Make sure you don't put the lights out, will you?
Sure.
On Tuesday breakfast, it's Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk with Matthew Dixon.